Spencer, I got a little story for you.
What's up, man?
You messaged me this weekend and you sent me just a tsunami of texts because I was busy, but I didn't check it.
Okay, that's fine. I apologize for blowing you up, though. Yeah.
No, it's totally okay. But one of them caught my eye. You said, and I quote, Saturday, 10 a.m. in the morning, after about 8 messages, this is probably about the ninth. You said, Rutgers about to beat Michigan today.
I mean,
I know what you sound like Sid from Ice Age when you say stuff like that.
I was wrong, but okay.
I can't handle you, man.
I mean, sometimes you got to be. I'm happy engaging the role of the Skip Bayless role in this podcast, and sometimes you got to say some wild shit.
I don't know about that. Well, he does say some wild stuff, but he's careful about that. Like you just say every team is going to get upset. I mean, and then a broken clock is right twice a day.
Statistically, it's going to happen one of these days, and you're not going to be ready for it.
Yeah, that's like Scooter Magruder when he's like, the Cowboys will win the Super Bowl on every post.
Yeah, I mean,
but they will at some point. I hope, dear God.
Yeah, I hope sometime in my lifetime the Cowboys win the Super Bowl. That would be good.
It's because they're going to win it like the year after we pass away.
That would suck.
We're going to die tragically in a plane crash. We're not going to actually fall. We're not going to die in a plane crash because we were on the plane. We're just going to be walking, and the plane's going to crash into us on the ground.
Mm-hmm. So, anyway,
welcome to the show, everybody.
My name is Daryl. Welcome to the Gameday Breakfast Podcast. This is my co-host Spencer.
Oh no, I'm Spencer.
That's totally wrong. I'm Spencer, and he's Daryl.
When I wear spants, like short pants.
Spants.
I go by Spencer. That's what happens when I.
Yeah, I mean I wear shorts like 95% of the time. I wore a pair of pants yesterday to my grandmother's 80th birthday party, and for the first time in forever.
Oh, she doing all right?
Yeah, she's good. It's my dad's mother. I don't know if you've.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you.
I may not have. 80 is a big number, though. I mean, that's a big.
Yeah.
My grandma has a shirt that she got when she was 70 that said, "I'm not 70. I'm only 69.95."
I love that.
It's the most plus tax, and it's like the most wholesome thing I've ever seen.
I saw a shirt one time that said, "I'm not 40. I'm 21 with 18 years experience," or something like that.
Yeah, I like that. I'm into stuff like that.
Something that only like middle-aged old white people would wear.
Yeah, dude. When I turn 50, I'm gonna have every like ridiculous shirt you could possibly imagine and just not care.
There comes an age where you just stop caring about stuff, and it just. But yeah. Anyway, let's talk about some football, Daryl.
Our football podcast.
Yeah, we are indeed a college football podcast. So it was a pretty.
Trust us, we are. We're qualified.
Yeah.
It
was a pretty tame kind of weekend. Everything kind of went the way it was supposed to.
What are you talking about? Did you watch the same games I watched?
I mean, I watched the Clemson North Carolina game.
See Ole Miss like beating Bama at one point for a hot 5 minutes.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the way Ole Miss was running their offense during that game. They had they would line up and they'd have like the quarterback and two running backs in the backfield, and he was running like all these like read options and RPOs. Like I really liked the way that offense was going there for a second, and like they were doing good, but Alabama's just too much.
Yeah, they're always gonna be able to outpace you and out depth you. I think because they have like their backups on defense are, most teams would be happy to have on as a starting lineup.
Yeah.
So they can always cycle in fresh guys, and that's what last year was constantly keep them on their heels, so that they had to play from behind, and the Bama defense is not made to play from behind.
Yeah, and Ole Miss kept getting dudes injured. But I do think I saw some people talking, and even Funny Mane tweeted about it. He said something about how it's a little bit cause for concern that Alabama's defense gave up 31 points to Ole Miss. Like, two of those touchdowns kind of came in garbage time with backups in the game. But, like, do you think that's a reason for Alabama to be concerned? Like, it's kind of the same question about the LSU defense. We gave up 38 points to Texas. Like, That's the same kind of question.
Well, and it's interesting you say that because I was looking at this, and I will start out by saying that 14 of those points were it was in the fourth quarter when Alabama was already up by,
Yeah.
So you could call it quote unquote garbage time.
Yeah.
And people say that a lot, but I don't fully buy it just because
you got to play.
You got to play right, and that's not something. Coach Saban is not the type of coach to just sort of lay off the to lay off the gas. So I mean, those are still points that were scored, believe it or not, even though it was quote unquote garbage time. But you could take some credit off of it. But before this, I was thinking about that because I saw that the Ole Miss obviously scored quite a bit on them, and I was thinking about LSU.
Yeah, like I'm
going to give you 4.
38 points to Vanderbilt, but we hung 66 on them. So.
Right. Just to give you some perspective for what it's worth, A&M, their defense obviously, they have obviously had a very ugly start to the year, but they're giving up the same amount of points per game on average as Auburn is. Auburn's letting up 17.2, A&M's letting up 17.3 points per game. Mm-hmm. Where do you think they're at?
Who do I think where's that?
Bama. Like, what do you think they're averaging per game, letting up?
It's probably lower than 31.
It's 14.8.
Okay,
so but it's not like that's drastically different than Auburn or A&M. I think Bama this year, their real strength, like any other team, or like any other like Auburn and like LSU, is their offense.
I disagree with you about Auburn's offense. I think Auburn's strength is their defense, but
I think Auburn's strength is their defense as well. But I think that their offense is coming along quite a bit.
Yeah, like they started very slow, and like I mean, Auburn's the real deal. Like I guess we just didn't, maybe we didn't give them the credit they deserved coming out at the beginning of the season. But I think they're the real deal. I think their defense is really good. Bo
they're improving too.
Yeah, Bo Nix started off slow, but they got their offense going against Mississippi State. So I don't know Yeah, I still think they're the real deal.
And here's what I'll say about Auburn, and I said this week 1 whenever we were talking about the Oregon and Auburn game, is that Auburn plays about as well, or excuse me, Auburn typically has 2 halves to a season. They will play very, very well, and then they will slump, or they will start off very slow and get much better. I felt like they actually started a little slow against Oregon, and I would say they even started a little slow against Tulane because, they only beat them by 18, but against a lesser opponent, you're expecting a lot more. Yeah. And they pick things up against A&M and Mississippi State. I think that they potentially have already been through their slump. They're always due one just from past experience. Mm-hmm. But it's possible that it's yet to come. Who knows? They could look up and Arkansas suddenly gives them a tough game, in a couple of weeks, and then they kind of slump from there. But they still got a lot on their schedule. They still got to go to Georgia.
They go to the Swamp this week. So
exactly. So that'll be a big test. That's going to be a fun game. We'll get into a little bit, but yeah, I agree with you, man. I think that there is some concern at Alabama because of the defense, but luckily, unlike years past, they have one hell of an offense.
Yeah.
So
they're like, I don't really think it matters that their defense gave up 31 when they're hanging 50 50 or 60 points on people. So.
Exactly. And I think that LSU is cut of the same cloth, actually.
Yeah.
For reference, LSU's letting up an average of 23 points per game, but they also have the one against Texas for what it's worth.
Yeah, and I think Texas and Vanderbilt both scored 38 points on LSU's defense. But But if you look at that LSU Vanderbilt game, one of those touchdowns that Vanderbilt scored was right at the end of the first half off of like a botched handoff when LSU had the ball, and they were like on the 5-yard line. And so it was a fumble, and he picked it up basically in the end zone. And so he got that one, and then the other 2 were like in garbage time with the backups in. Like, I know those are still touchdowns that were scored. Like, you still have to play to the whistle. But
sure, but it's not like they're charging down the field when it's still they're within a score,
Yeah, like Texas kept it close because obviously Texas is a much better team than Vanderbilt this year.
I can't believe you'd say that.
But obviously,
I'm just kidding.
But so it's just I don't know. It's something you look at Alabama. Their calling card is their defense. this year it's their offense, especially when they have their wide receiver Devontae Smith scoring 5 receiving touchdowns in a game.
It's a weird year in the SEC, isn't it?
It's a very weird year in the SEC.
I'm used to boring games. I'm used to it's halftime and it's 10-13,
Yeah, when we get down to this LSU-Alabama game that everybody's kind of talking about, I don't really want to think about it that much because I just want to let the season go. I want to go week by week and see what we're playing like. But this is
things while you can.
Yeah, this is looking like it's going to be one of the highest scoring LSU Alabama games we've had in a long time. But I say that now, and then we get down to it, and both defenses show up, and we get another 9-6. Both teams score under 15 points type of game.
It's funny. I was talking to Josh about this, and he said the exact same thing. He was like, yeah, I think the final score will be about 45 to 40, but watch it be 3-3 at half.
Yeah, so. It's because LSU and Alabama always show up against each other. It's right. Say what you will about the Iron Bowl and stuff like that, but LSU and Alabama just always knock the snot out of each other every year. It's always a hard hitting game. I was watching a video. There's a YouTube channel they're called COISKI Media or something like that, and it's an acronym. It's an initialism, acronym for content is king. But they go to all these different equipment rooms for college football teams and college basketball teams. So I'm all about that. They went to Alabama's, and Alabama has this. They have this wall of they have this little card that they put in the locker room. This little board that it's a tile or something. And so it's got their opponent on it. And so if they win the game, all the players sign it and they put it up on their wall in one of their little hallways in the locker room. But if they lose, it just stays in the coach's office or something like that. And the guy asked, he goes, from an equipment standpoint, what's always the hardest game? What's the toughest game? And the guy said it's always the LSU game because every year, regardless of whether we play in Baton Rouge or we play in Tuscaloosa, every single time the helmets are always more scarred and there's jerseys that are ripped and everybody's more dirty because it's always just it's a brawl every time. So but,
absolutely. And they're just so hard hitting and
it's a traditional.
That's why it's so much fun to watch too because it just means so much for both teams,
Mm-hmm. And the game gets hyped up even if both teams are having a down year. Alabama hasn't had a down year in a long time. But even if LSU's having a bit of a down year, they still hype. This matchup gets a bunch of hype. And obviously, Alabama's beaten LSU, I think it's 8 or 9 straight times. And so, I don't know. But I'm obviously excited about LSU this year. But yeah. Some other news, it makes you feel good. SMU jumped into the rankings for the first time since they got the death penalty back in 1989. So
it's really been that long, hasn't it?
It has really been that long. I think it was the time they got the death penalty in 2009. They only had, one winning season. And then they had another coach from 2009 to 2000 whatever, and they got to 3 bowl games. But this is the this is the most success they've had in a little while, and it's just good to see.
Yeah, it really is. You look at some of the teams they beat. They have wins against. They got wins against TCU. They got wins against a Texas State team that is on the rise. I feel this year. I think they have a lot of potential, and also against USF. Mm-hmm. You look at their schedule. The biggest game to me they still got is Houston. I think if they take down Houston, if they have a solid win against, if they pick up a win against Memphis, they have a solid win against Houston. They're gonna get a really fun year. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. What do you think is the limit for this team? Assuming they win out, where do you think they end up at?
They're definitely gonna be able to make a run at the American Athletic Conference Championship. I'm actually gonna go look at their schedule real quick. To see
if they make top 15.
Yeah, I think they can sneak into the top 15 if they keep playing well. This week they play Tulsa, and Tulsa's got a really good defense, historically great defense. This year, even though they're having a bit of a down year, And then they got Tulsa at home, Temple at home, and then they go to Houston for a Thursday night game on October 24th. That actually wouldn't be a bad game to go to. I'd be pretty close to that. And then they go to Memphis. I think that game is going to be very good, as long as SMU and Memphis, if they both win out, that would be, they could get Gameday to show up to that game. That'd be cool.
That'd be a fun game to watch.
But that's November 2nd, so there's guaranteed to be some big SEC matchup that weekend. So, but if they stay undefeated, I think Memphis should be ranked. But if SMU stays undefeated and Memphis stays undefeated, it'll be a very good game.
Yeah, that SMU-Memphis game is going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, and that's going to determine the winner of the AAC West, because neither one of them have to play UCF this season. I'm looking at their schedule. So if UCF stays on their roll and either SMU or Memphis stays on their roll, it's going to be it could be for the third year in a row, Memphis and UCF in the AAC championship, or it'll be SMU and UCF unless some crazy stuff happens. But you also got to look SMU's game versus Tulane. That's going to be a good one too, because Tulane's doing well too. So
they are for sure. And I think if you're UCF, you're sitting inside the top 20 right now. You obviously want to win the AAC championship. But I think what they're looking for the biggest is they're looking for redemption against that LSU game. I think they're going to want a high profile bowl game against a big team, so they can make a statement again, because that's kind of their identity right now. Is like they're the Roughnecks coming in trying to be big and bad, and say that they're kind of the biggest representative of non-Power 5 schools trying to make some sort of bid for the playoffs. So I hope they do. Them and Boise State, it'd be nice to see them and Boise State both get high-profile bowl games and then make something out of it.
Them and Boise State got a home-and-home series coming up in 2023.
Yes.
Yeah. Obviously.
Who does? Who has a Boise State home game series?
UCF and Boise State.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, well, there's no telling what UCF is going to be in 4 years, but they've got a program down there. So, but yeah, I'm excited about this SMU team. I know you had predicted them to beat TCU, and they ended up doing that. But yeah, I'm excited about them. I'm excited about the future of SMU, and they can finally kind of bounce back from this death penalty, even though it was so many years ago.
It's interesting to see how history just ripples like that.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Good to see Virginia stay in the top 25. Obviously, they dropped 5 because they lost to Notre Dame. But they lost to a real Notre Dame team and still put up a very good fight. So good to see them stay in the top 25. I think they'll probably still have a very fun season.
Yeah, that was a good loss. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You lose to number 10, you're not gonna fall. You lose to number 10, and you're also ranked. You're not gonna fall that far. So. Yeah, I'm gonna pull up the top 25. Is there anything you wanna get into real quick before we move on?
Yeah. Honestly, the only thing I want to get into is kind of the next thing. Yeah. I kind of want to get your opinion on the whole Clemson game. I know you have some very strong opinions.
I do.
I want to see what your take is on what it's going to take for Wake Forest to pull the upset against a struggling Clemson.
Yeah,
possible, and if so, what's it going to take? But we can always get into your since that chronologically,
What are you talking about?
Chronologically, the North Carolina game happened first. I know that's the one big thing you wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
If you want to talk about that, then we get into Wake Forest, then we can do that.
Yeah. Okay. I have opinions about the way this game turned out.
No, you do.
One, Clemson is not number 1 or number 2 right now. They are not playing like a number 1 or number 2 team. They are struggling. Trevor Lawrence is in a sophomore slump. And North Carolina was on them all day. It was North Carolina had the lead at one point. It was 14-14 at halftime. They were outplaying them on defense. They were outplaying them the entire time. North Carolina had them. You come down to the end of the game. There's a minute and 15 seconds left. North Carolina scores a touchdown, and Mac Brown decides to go for a 2-point conversion. And he didn't get it because he called some weird speed option play or something like that. I completely disagree with this call because you'd been outplaying them on defense all day. You'd been stopping them on defense all day. You know, Trevor Lawrence is having a bit of a down year. Your DBs have been holding those big receivers they've got all day. Kick the extra point and tie it 21-21. Yes, you don't have any timeouts left, but make them make a play. Maybe you get a lucky fumble. Maybe you catch an interception. But take it into overtime and then make a play from there. Like, give yourself the chance. And maybe that's just like the conservative, like, always go for your points type of coach in my head. But to me, that's the call you should have made. And because we haven't seen an unranked team beat a number one team since 2008 when Oregon State beat USC. So it would just be good and we haven't really had a big upset this year. So it would have been good to see North Carolina beat Clemson, you know, because we're both big on North Carolina right now. And so, and yes, I do see the other side, you know, you're rebuilding your program. You're trying to get this big, like, kind of signature win over the number one team in the country. So you go for 2 to try to win the game on the spot, like make them stop you. And they did. But just to me, you kick that extra point and live to play another down. But if you don't get it, your game ends right there. So, I don't know.
Okay, let me tell you why you sound like Stinky Pete from Toy Story. All right, so here's where you're wrong. First of all, you don't want to give Trevor Lawrence the short side of the field. The reason that the reason that the Tar Heels were playing such good defense is because at most points during that game, the special teams were doing very well. They were kicking it deep, and they were giving Trevor Lawrence a long field to work with. Which is
why you kick the extra point so you can get a kickoff and kick it deep.
No, I'm not saying that. I think that they do kick it deep and fine, but I think when you go to overtime, if you give Trevor Lawrence a good field position, he's going to outpace you. I think going to overtime with a potential Heisman Trophy winner and the guy that won against Alabama's defense last year in the national championship is not something I want. I think the right call. They made the right call. I think they went with the wrong play call. When they're marching down the field, you're at home. You absolutely, and you have the defense on their heels like that. You absolutely are going to go for it in that situation, especially if you're the underdog. You take the magic of the whole atmosphere and everything, and you roll it into a play. You go up, and then your defense comes out more charged than ever because if they make this stop, they win. Mm-hmm. Call. I think it was the wrong play call. What was very impressive to me as I've watched as I've watched North Carolina all year, especially earlier whenever they beat South Carolina. The big playmaker is the quarterback. He's very inconsistent, and I'll be honest with you. I mean, he makes a lot of beautiful throws and he makes a lot of meh throws. Mm-hmm. But I would tell you that running him with that sort of speed option, not the right play against the Clemson defense that fills the holes very fast. The guy, although he is inconsistent, he steps up in big moments, and we saw that a lot against South Carolina. I think they throw the ball. I think they go to like the back corner of the end zone. I think they run a little play action. They do something. They sneak a tight end out last second, but you do something to go ahead and give him a chance because I think he would have made a big play. Don't like the play. But I don't like the play call, but I like the decision to go for it because I think that you go up there, your defense comes out more charged than ever. That stadium is as loud as it's been in a long time. I think you get the win.
Mm-hmm. All right, you changed my mind a little bit, but I still think...
Did I really?
Yeah, like...
I came out guns blazing. I was like, oh, man.
Now that you say it that way, it makes sense to me that given... I didn't think about it from you go to overtime and you give Trevor Lawrence a short field. I was thinking
about the last 2 minutes.
The last end of regulation, kick it deep and make him go down and score, and maybe you get a lucky play. But I also agree with you that if you're going to make the call to go for 2, you have to throw the ball
with a playmaker.
Or get it to somebody, like swing it out to a back, or like make it to where you spread them out and then get that middle of the field open and have the quarterback run it in like on a draw or something.
Right. And I'm not keen on run plays. Whenever you go for 2-point conversions.
Yeah, I dislike run plays. They never work when you go for 2.
Well, when you're 5 yards out, typically in that tight of a space, you're running some sort of a man coverage or spy with the quarterback, because typically that's what happens. If they're trying to run it, it's either the quarterback's going to keep it, or it's going to be a fake handoff to somebody. It's some sort of misdirection. Everybody's responsible for somebody, and the second it becomes very clear where it's going, everyone's going to converge. So yeah, I mean, I'm not a big fan of them. I like the pass plays, especially whenever you can do something sneaky. Like if you think back, the one play that I absolutely adore. Remember the A&M Bama game back whenever Johnny played and they won. That play that they ran to Alabama, the last play of the game.
When DeShazer ever caught that interception?
Yeah, when he caught that interception. There's a little route where a tight end sneaks out from the opposite side and just runs down the seam. Nobody picks him up because it's a tight end coming back. So nobody picks him up. He runs on the seam, catches it, and of course it didn't work. It worked the next year when they came to Kyle Field. They ran that exact same play at one point. It wasn't a 2-point conversion, but it was just they were on the one. Ran that exact play, and it worked beautifully. I'm a big fan of things like that, sneaking out somebody that is just you weren't expecting, like a tight end.
Or like an offensive lineman. They do that sometimes too.
Right, exactly. Just some sort of something that you could not have seen from the line of scrimmage. Before the ball was snapped. No, but that's my opinion. But I like the call. I just don't like the play call.
Yeah, and I think North Carolina's also been they've had a little bit of magic this year, but they've also been a little bit unlucky. Like you look at their game against Appalachian State. They got a field goal blocked, and then their other I forget who else it was that they lost to before this Clemson game.
I'll tell you this though, there's a lot to look forward to. I think regardless of what happened, I think if you're a North Carolina fan, you're going to be very happy.
Yeah,
just because the direction the program's going. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm very excited about the future of North Carolina football. I'm glad Mac Brown is back to coaching. And there's several teams I'm excited about the futures of right now. Like I'm excited about the future of North Carolina. I'm excited about the future of Kansas with Les Miles. I'm excited about the future of Houston, University of Houston. Even though they're having a bit of a down year and they get this whole De'Aaron King situation right now. I'm excited for Coach Holgorsen to get his system in and get some dudes around him. So
things are always interesting in Houston because they are. It's a team where a lot of talent passes through. Even if they don't stay there or if they're coming in at a later time, Houston is just a good place for football.
Mm-hmm. They should join the Big 12 so they can get some of these higher-rated recruits. Because think about how many
and then convert the Big 12 convert the Big 12 into like a 1/3 Texas conference.
Yeah, I mean, you could have a conference called the Texas Conference. There's enough FBS teams in Texas.
Yeah, exactly.
Have a conference called the Texas Conference. So
be down with that.
It would definitely work.
That's how they did it.
Yeah.
What if like each state was a conference?
Yeah, that'd be wild. I mean, I know for a fact North Carolina's got enough teams to be in a conference. I mean, they'd have to move some people up from FCS, but it would work.
Yeah. We kind of got a stacked weekend ahead of us. You want to get into the pick'ems?
Yeah, we can do that unless there's something else you want to talk about.
I really just want to talk about that North Carolina game because I had to defend my. On Facebook, you were very aggressive that they should have kicked it, and I was like, "No, dude."
Yeah. I still think they should have kicked it. But if you're going to make the call to go for 2, you call a different play.
Absolutely.
So, but yeah.
You got to go for it with that momentum, with that magic being at home.
Yeah. Yeah, so let's talk
we're just talking about Clemson. What's it going to take for Wake Forest to take them down next week? I'm tripping.
We're a
couple games out.
Yeah, a couple games out. Does Wake Forest play this week? I'm not seeing them on the schedule.
No, they don't. They have a bye. They got Louisville the week after. Yeah.
Okay. They have Louisville the week after.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm gonna go click on Wake real quick. The Wake Forest Deacons.
They got Louisville.
22.
I think with a quality win over Louisville, I think that if they can keep rolling. Their defense has been back and forth, but their offense has been fine. So I think, I don't know, things have happened.
Yeah, they have they have a bye week and 4 games until they get to Clemson. Like, they don't play Clemson until November 16th. So still a long ways away, but if they can get past Louisville, which I think they can, because Louisville's not very good this year, and then they have to. I think their toughest game before they get to Clemson is going to be Florida State, even though Florida State's bad this year. But if they can hang around, if they can beat Florida State, and then they have to play NC State and they go to Virginia Tech, if they can stay undefeated between now and then, I think, there's a realistic shot. They're at Clemson. That would be cool if Gameday showed up to that game. That'd be sweet.
Yeah, if they could make that happen, that'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, but they're going to be at Clemson, so I don't know what the probability of that is. But I do think if Wake Forest can get to this Clemson game and somehow pull it off, it'll be them versus Virginia in the ACC championship, which would be lovely to see.
Be some good TV right there.
That would be some great TV. So,
hey man, so tell me something. Is Les Miles going to come up with the upset this weekend? Home game.
Who they're playing?
Oklahoma. Yeah.
I doubt it.
Right.
Oklahoma's really good.
Yeah.
They might do it one day, but this ain't the year. I'm a believer in Les Miles. I'm a believer in the Jayhawks, but this ain't the year.
One thing that's got to happen for them to pull it out, if they're going to pull it out.
Jalen Hurts has to break every bone in his body.
My key of the game is that Kansas is going to have to successfully pull off 2 fake special teams touchdowns.
Yeah, but
I need a fake punt touchdown and a fake field goal touchdown.
That would be beautiful. That honestly would.
That ever been accomplished in the same game?
I don't know, but I would love to see
one team. Look that up and get back to y'all on that.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I don't think this is the year Kansas gets it done against Oklahoma. So. Oklahoma's really good.
She's got their hands full this weekend.
Who?
LSU, they got their hands full this weekend.
With Utah State?
Man, Utah State.
I mean, Utah State's a decent team. They play pretty good football. They're 3-1 right now.
They really?
Yeah, they did pretty good. Shout out to a guy I know named Camden, who goes to Utah State. I met him through a group on Facebook about NCAA 14. Shout out to him.
World.
Yeah. So, but yeah, LSU's too much. Utah State plays good football, but LSU's too much. I mean, all biases aside.
I said to give you a hard time because
Yeah. It was weird having the Tigers be on a bye week this past week.
Yeah, it's kind of lost, right?
Yeah, like your Aggies are this week.
I won't be lost. I'll be in relief. I can relax on a Saturday.
Yeah. So, tell me about who you think is going to win between number 3 Georgia at Tennessee.
Oh, man, I think Georgia's going to make it a very sad place to be.
Mm-hmm.
Look in the crowd in this game.
There's going to be a bunch of sad Tennessee fans.
Oh no, keep track of the crowd because I think this is a game where if Georgia so much as scores first, I think they're just going to start thinning out.
Yeah.
Because Tennessee is hurt this year. I mean, when I say hurt, I don't mean injury-wise. I think they have a handful. They're just hurt because of how things have started.
Mm-hmm.
When you start out like that, the only place you can go is up.
Yeah.
But this is probably not when it's going to happen. I think this will be a win for Tennessee if they can keep it within 2 scores. If they do that, I think they can hold their heads a little bit higher going into next week.
Yeah. Next week they play Mississippi State, so.
And that's a winnable game for them, I think, especially if Mississippi State's struggling a little bit. I think they keep this within 2 scores. They have done a very good job. There's a lot to take away from a very good Georgia team.
Yeah, but spoiler alert, they're not going to keep it within 2 scores. Georgia's really good.
I mean, Georgia is really good, but I don't think they will either. But I think if they do, they could be. I got Georgia winning at about 30-13.
Something like that. It's a bad year for Tennessee, man. Also, shout out to Chad Dallas, who plays for their baseball team.
How about that?
He's a volunteer now.
Shout out to the guy that invented the term "shout out."
Yeah, shout out to him. So, tell me about Tulsa at SMU. We already talked about that one a little bit earlier.
Yeah, I like SMU at home. I think Tulsa's got a pretty solid defense, but I think SMU just has a few too many weapons. Shane Buechele is really settling in. I got SMU.
Yeah, James Prochet is playing out of his mind. It's that big wide receiver they got. Yeah, give me SMU at home. Gerald J. Ford Stadium there in Dallas. And I like those uniforms that SMU's been wearing, the ones that they have the big D and it says Dallas. Looks like Dallas is like Dallas University or something like that because they're there. And
I'm a big fan of that. I really like that.
I enjoy that a lot.
All right, man. Navy coming off a tough loss to a very good Memphis team, but they're going. They host Air Force this weekend.
Battle for I believe that was called like Battle for the Governor's Cup or something like that. I believe that's what that one's called. They play for some kind of trophy, or like or like the Commander-in-Chief's bell or something like that. Two triple option offenses.
1-loss teams.
2 1-loss teams.
Half-point spread. There's gonna be a close one, man. I think this is gonna be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, 2 triple option offenses. Time of possession is going to be insane.
Absolutely. Look for the third downs. Whoever has more third down conversions in this game, especially short third downs, is going to be the winner. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, give me
Just
Navy
the problem.
on this one.
Yeah. I think so too. I think that they're going to rebound from last week, especially at a home game. But yeah, definitely look at the third downs here because the key with these triple option heavy running offenses is that when you look at a third and long, it is very difficult to convert because you either have to pass, which you don't want to do if you're running these. You're looking for the 1st and 10, 2nd and 7, 3rd and 2 first down.
Yeah.
100%. You can't be going backwards at all. So
yeah,
this will be a quick game because they're going to run a lot. But.
Yeah. Oh, this game's going to fly by. This is if you want to watch a quick college football game, watch Air Force and Navy. I guarantee.
You see the least amount of commercials you'll see all weekend to watch this game.
Yeah. Also, this might a good factor in determining who wins this game might be whoever wins the coin. Whoever receives the opening kickoff has a damn good chance to win this game.
Yeah, you're
because of the way
right.
these offenses work. Like, if you shave 8 minutes off the clock and go down and score, and your time of possession is going to be roughly on the same, and then they shave like 7-8 minutes off going the other way. Now you're already in the second quarter, unless your defense stops them when you get close, because they do a lot of pitches. Let's say they have a bad pitch and your defense picks up the fumble and you shave another 8 minutes to go off and you go down and score again. What are they going to do?
Definitely, this is a dark horse game. Like, definitely look out for this one because it'll be an interesting game to watch.
Yeah,
you're going to see some old school football.
Yeah, the triple option is when it works, it's glorious to watch.
Yeah, it's awesome.
But yeah, tell me about number 14 Iowa and number 19 Michigan.
Iowa and Michigan. Oh, that's gonna be fun. Michigan's at home. I think they made a big statement last week. Rutgers was a team that could have done something but didn't. Yeah, and they got the goose egg. So I think that they are potentially on a bit of a positive skew here. Matchup predictor on ESPN's got them favored to win. I don't know, man. I like the Wolverines at home. I think that if they are going to have any shot against Ohio State this year, and it's a very slim one, and I don't think they're going to do it, but I think this is where they got to draw the line in the sand and say we're gonna win big games because this is a big game to win, especially against an Iowa team that is very hot right now. I like Michigan, but I mean in the narrowest of margins. I think it comes down to like a field goal.
Yeah, give me Iowa by a field goal. Actually, last time Iowa and Michigan played, Michigan was number 3 in the country. They were 9-0. Iowa was 5-4, and Iowa ended up beating them by 1 point. This game is going to be low scoring, scrappy, defensive. It always is between these two teams, and Iowa has a history of upsetting highly ranked Michigan, even though they're ranked higher than Michigan. If they were in Iowa, if they were in Kinnick Stadium, I would say Iowa by like 10, but because they're going to be in the big house, give me Iowa by like a field goal, like last second field goal, something like that.
It's going to be a fun one, man.
And it's going to be an odd score too. Like the final score is going to be like 15-11, or like it's always weird with these two teams. Mm-hmm. Like somebody's going to get a safety, somebody's going to miss an extra point. Like it's going to be weird, but give me the Hawkeyes by a touchdown.
All right, well,
yeah,
it'll be a fun one to watch. Baylor Bears coming off a very close win. The last 2 wins they've had, they're 4-0.
Mm-hmm.
They should be ranked. Really saying much about it. They very much could be ranked. Winning by the hair of their chin against Iowa State.
A very good Iowa State team.
Very good Iowa State team. They won at Rice. Close game. Rice, say what you will. Kansas is going to be at home, but they just came off a loss to Oklahoma State. Again, a good Oklahoma State. So this should be a fun one. I think that if Baylor can pull this out, I think you're going to see them ranked, especially if they win really well. Could be a close one. I don't know. I think if they win this, my stepdad's going to be pretty happy.
Yeah. Baylor and Kansas State. You said Kansas, and I was like, wait a minute, what are you looking at? But it's Baylor and Kansas State.
I apologize. Kansas State. Yes, K-State.
Baylor at Kansas State. Yeah, give me Baylor. I like those new uniforms they're wearing. That shade of green is really nice. They're just kind of like a basic uniforms, but the numbers are really good, and they just went back to their basic look. Yeah. Baylor's playing some good football.
But for this to be a high-scoring game, obviously, points per game scored for both teams is above 36. Points allowed per game is both 16. So I think that you're going to see some fireworks in this one.
Yeah, excuse me again. But, yeah, give me Baylor. Although Kansas State's playing some good ball right now.
I take Baylor in a close one. I think that they go into Kansas State. This is their first. I don't want to say first real challenge because they had a very tough challenge with Iowa State. But I think that they feel good. I think that they're used to the close game at this point because it's going to be a close one, especially at K-State.
Mm-hmm.
Give me Baylor. Give me Baylor by 3.
Yeah, this is going to be like a 45-42 high-scoring affair.
I knew you were going to say affair. I was like, affair. That's a good word to use here.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I like that one a lot. Tell me about number 25 Michigan State at number 4 Ohio State.
I think Ohio State runs away with it. I think it's going to look very similar to the Nebraska game last week. I think Ohio State is the real deal, much as it pains me to say it. I think that they are still the real deal. It's going to take a lot to convince me otherwise. I'm taking Ohio State by at least 20.
Yeah. Michigan State's got a good defense, but Ohio State's too much, and it's Ohio State at home. Yeah. Yeah, Michigan State's got a history of upsetting a highly ranked Ohio State on the road, but it ain't going to be this year. Ohio State's too much. Yeah. Give me Ohio State. Ohio State big.
I agree. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Let's see. Give me – all right, so I'll do one more, and then you can hit the game of the week. Yes, what about the Longhorns at West Virginia?
I don't know. West Virginia, having a bit of a down year. They're 3-1. I say a down year. They're 3-1. Their only losses to Mizzou right now. Okay. They beat Kansas by 5.
This game at Kansas.
Yeah. Give me the Longhorns. I think even though they're on the road and West Virginia always plays Texas tough. Give me the Longhorns. I think Sam and all those big receivers are just too good.
Yeah, I think last week and this week is sort of the Tom Herman revenge tour right now. They're sort of picking up for some stuff that they left on the table last year.
Yeah.
So you get West Virginia without a without a Will Greer, even at West Virginia, I think it's going to be a fun game. I do, but I think that Texas probably wins it by a score or two.
Yeah. Sorry about that noise. I accidentally knocked my mic off its stand. But yeah, yeah.
Your very top of the line high tech stand.
Yeah. Give me Texas by 10. Yeah, but like these past two games against Oklahoma State, West Virginia are like the Tom Herman revenge tour. I like that. So, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Their real challenge comes the week after that.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be a game to talk about.
Mm-hmm. Number 7 Auburn at number 10 Florida. Game day is going to be in Gainesville for this one.
Mm-hmm.
What you think about this one?
It's a sweet tea sipping, beer drinking party of a game. I like Auburn big. I think Auburn's the real deal, as we have established. It would really cushion my ego if Auburn continued to win after the embarrassing loss that they handed A&M at Kyle. Mm-hmm. I think Auburn gets it, although I do think it is it's very low scoring until like the fourth quarter. I think you're going to see a game very similar to the Oregon game, where things start out pretty tame. Maybe a lot of fireworks, but both teams I think are going to do a good job of keeping each other out of the end zone. So I think there's going to be a lot of field goals here, but I think Auburn cuts loose early in the fourth quarter, and Florida can't catch up.
Yeah, give me Auburn in this one. Even though Florida is at home, Auburn's too good. Their defense is too good. Florida is on a backup quarterback right now, although Kyle Trask he's been playing well, but
he's the real deal, man. I like him. He's going to go places regardless.
But yeah, give me Auburn in this one. I think they get it done.
And like I said, this is anytime you go to Gainesville, you're going to have game day in town. Auburn is obviously very hot right now.
Mm-hmm.
This is my couch game because I just don't care. You know who wins really?
Also mine.
This is the recliner couch, beanbag chair, whatever swing you have in your house. Watch this game. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, this is going to be. I think there's a possibility that Florida's going to hang around in the first half, but Auburn's just. I know I've been saying it a lot about teams. Auburn's just too much. Bo Nix has been playing really well. I think he's going to be really good for the next 3 to 4 years. So,
and he's just getting started. I think this is a kid that's going to break loose, have a good year, and potentially be so good that he has a sophomore slump.
Yeah,
you know what
like
I mean?
Trevor Lawrence is doing right now.
Right. We could look back to that and have a whole other talk. But I like. By the way, just for everybody at home, I'm looking at our notes for the show, and Spencer has written here: Auburn defense playing well. Offense started slow this season, but got it together against Moo State. I love that you called them that.
Yeah, I've heard them called that before, or I've just heard them called Moo State, so I just put Moo State because I thought it was funny.
I've never once heard that. That's amazing.
It's hilarious. I mean, you laughed at my notes when I called Florida Free Shoes U.
Yeah,
but that's not actually original. You can thank Steve Spurrier for that one.
Oh yeah, I guess you're right about that.
Yeah. So, but yeah, you want to get this combination of two segments this week?
Did you manage to really pull it off? I was looking at it, but I thought you might have forgotten to write one. Is it actually a combination of both?
It is a combination of the new segment we busted out last week, the Time Machine game, and our recurring segment, Bottom of the Barrel. On Thursday night, on Thursday, October 3rd, we have the 1-3 Georgia Southern Eagles at the 1-4 South Alabama Jaguars. So
the reason for everybody at home as to why it is the Time Machine game is because the podcast goes live on a Friday morning and the game takes place on the night before, and we're casting our picks back into the past ahead of time from the time the show comes out because we're recording on a Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday.
Yeah.
Before then, you get the idea.
Yeah, because our show comes out on Friday mornings, our weeks always have to start on a Friday. So Recorded Us doesn't know what the outcome of this game is, but the uploaded us when we're interacting with you on the YouTube channel and on the Facebook page, we know what this is. But you're going to know what the outcome of this game is before we do. So you could tell us
you get to see how stupid we are when we pick wrong.
Yeah, so you could tell us how bad we look in picking one or the other of these teams. So who you got, Daryl?
I'm going to be honest with you here. I was so ready to pick Georgia Southern because I was going to say that anyone in Alabama that is good at football is in Tuscaloosa. Mm-hmm. However, South Alabama mascot is the Jaguars, and their logo is one of the greatest things I've ever seen. I'm going to order a South Alabama Jaguars shirt now just so I can have a shirt with that logo on it because that's bad, man. I like that.
I like that a lot. I'm going to go with Georgia Southern because I really, really like their uniforms.
I dare you.
That navy blue Adidas Alabama look is real slick. I like that a lot. So, but yeah, give me the Eagles in this one.
Jaguars.
Yeah. So, but now that you know all that, you could tell us how right and or wrong we are. And to be honest with you, I don't know much about either of these teams. So,
yeah, well, because it's the bottom of the barrel game, so we're really scraping the bottom of the barrel. For comment and subscribe.
Yeah. But yeah, you got anything else you want to talk about?
I'd like to say just very quickly regarding last week, one last time. This is the A&M. Who did they play? Arkansas. The Alabama game, the A&M Arkansas game was everything I didn't expect. Everything I did expect because that game is cursed. It doesn't matter. Alabama, A&M could have been like the number one team in the nation, and Arkansas could have had they could have called Coach Brett Bellina to be quarterback. And that still would go be a down to the wire game. I don't know why. Every year, the game is cursed. I believe in curses. Yeah, when it comes to college football, and that game is absolutely cursed.
Yeah, but A&M doesn't lose in AT&T Stadium. They just don't.
I wish they play every game there because they certainly lose at Kyle. So
yeah. But yeah, I agree with you. It's always a fun game watching that game, but
it's always a nail biter.
Yeah, as A&M supporters, it's always stressful.
There's always Arkansas fans in the crowd that are just going nuts, before one commercial break, and then before the next commercial break, they're just on suicide watch. It's just they're all up there so sad,
Yeah, you gotta looking in the crowd in this game is insane. But yeah,
lots of surrender cobras.
Mm-hmm. I love that they coined that term. It's the best thing in the world to me.
That's a great way a great thing to call it. So,
but yeah,
those of you that don't know, the surrender cobra is when you take both hands, place them behind your head, and then stare up at the sky "Why me, God? Why me?"
Yeah. But I'm so happy they coined that term. But yeah, I'm gonna talk about these uniforms this week.
Ooh, it's time for that.
Florida is breaking out some Steve Spurrier era when he played at Florida throwbacks. They look very good. I like the way they look, and it's very fitting because Steve Spurrier wore number 11 when he was in college at Florida, and Kyle Trask also wears number 11. So they've got this picture back to back with them too. But I really like the way these uniforms
big fan
look.
Of that.
They're wearing I'm not the hugest fan of black shoes and white socks, but if the black shoes have big white logos on them and white laces, they look good with white socks. So, just some old school throwbacks.
The Cruella de Vil look right there.
Mm-hmm. But it's also cool because Florida is Jordan brand, so it's it's cool to see a newer player to the college football uniform game on some throwbacks. But these are just clean.
They look clean too, man. Yeah, I was just gonna say they and that's the thing about throwbacks. If you do them right,
they look really good.
Simply, you just have to make them simple.
Yeah.
If you do that, then you've done your job.
Yeah, my two favorite throwbacks in the NFL are the Cowboys. Obviously, that's my team. But I love that white helmet with just the blue star on it. When we wear those with like the navy blue jerseys, but it's all white across the top, and then the white pants. I like that. But I also really like the Detroit Lions throwbacks, ones they wore against the Chiefs this weekend. Oh, they look so good. Just a solid
I'm a big
helmet,
fan.
Solid gray pants, and a blue jersey with silverish gray numbers. It looks great.
Actually, a big fan of Pittsburgh's Bumblebee throwback uniforms.
Yeah, those are hilarious.
Have the stripes. Oh, God, I love it.
Yeah.
It looks so bad and good.
Yeah. The ones the Bears wore this weekend look pretty good, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also,
one of the best parts of football, man.
Yeah, and also it's gonna pain me to say this, but another good set of throwbacks I like are the Packers. It's just that all yellow helmet.
Oh yeah, man.
That navy blue jersey with the yellow across the top and those like wheat tan colored pants.
Hate it, but I love it. You know what I mean?
Because I'm
a big fan.
I dislike the Packers. Shout out to Will's mom, Miss Bonnie. She's a big Packers fan, but
You really?
Yeah.
Mom's also a huge Packers fan.
I forgot about that. Your mom is a Packers fan.
I like Aaron Rodgers. He's pretty cool. I have a soft spot for the Packers, except for when we play them. I really don't. Here's the thing. It's why college football to me is such an emotional roller coaster. I don't hate any NFL team. Like, as a Cowboys fan, I don't even hate the Eagles. Like, they're the Eagles. Kevin Hart's an Eagles fan. I can't hate the Eagles. Like, the Eagles are just the bad guys. You root against.
Yeah,
college football, I have teams I hate in college football. Like, legit.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Like, the one I dislike the most is the Eagles, and probably the ones I dislike the second most of the Packers. But I don't hate any team, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
But in college football, there's teams. Yeah.
I got teams I hate.
Yeah. Yeah,
I have legit salt.
Yeah, I did. It's well documented my extreme dislike of Alabama.
Your absurd distaste.
Yeah, I mean, I used to be a lot more irrational about that than I am now. This podcast kind of keeps me level-headed about that. Although I've been level-headed about it for a while, but this podcast helps me stay objective.
It evens you out.
Yeah, so. But yeah, you got anything else, Daryl?
I think that wraps it up, man.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a fun weekend, and it's been a good show, man.
Yeah, it has. A question I haven't asked you in like 3 weeks. What'd you have for breakfast this morning?
I was going to ask you the same thing before we started, but I forgot to ask you. Today, well, actually, I'll tell you this. I had my regular breakfast prepared meal that I usually have, like just tacos. But tomorrow, I am cooking breakfast for supper, and we're having Jimmy Dean's sausage in a cast iron. I'm gonna make some of those McDonald's style hash brown bars. Like I got a recipe to make some. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna have some scrambled eggs and some Cinnabon cinnamon rolls that we picked up.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, we do breakfast right.
Yeah. If you classify breakfast as the first meal you ate after you woke up and got out of bed, my breakfast was a double quarter pounder with cheese, no pickles, with large fries and a large Coke. Yeah, because I was sitting at McDonald's using their Wi-Fi to do our notes.
Oh, that makes sense. I get it.
Yeah. So, but yeah, man, that sounds delicious.
Hey guys, thank you so much for joining this week. If you like what you heard, comment, let us know what we did wrong and did right in the comments, and be sure to subscribe and share with your friends and listen again and again and again. Yeah, just like we have more views.
Yeah, thank you everybody. Thank you for listening. I'm glad you keep listening. But yeah, that's all for us. Bye y'all.